yes, you're saying, okay, great spot for him to land in Cleveland, except they passed on him 6 times. And unbelievably, traded a 5th-round pick to get him, meaning after letting him fall all those rounds, suddenly woke up with a sense of urgency to go get him in the 5th round, to jump a line, maybe presumably for Philadelphia to go grab him. So I ask you, that does lend some credence that there might have been an ownership thumb on the scale to say, go get him. Make sure you get him. So suddenly we're going to use our last draft choice to go move up to get him after spending 6 draft choices on other people, including another rookie quarterback. I mean, that couldn't have been part of the plan. Let's get 2 rookies in the draft. What's your reporting? Did Jimmy Haslam tell him, go do this? Did that happen?
In real time, as I was talking to people after the Shedeur Sanders pick, it was made abundantly clear to me, Rich, this was not Jimmy Haslam pushing for this pick. This was Andrew Berry doing what a lot of GMs do as you get further in the draft. It's that one name that you've got the higher grade on, and he's still on the board. And eventually you're just like, well, we don't have a need at the position. Certainly the Browns have a broader macro need at the position, but like, we already drafted a guy, we signed a guy, we traded for Kenny Pickett. Why would we do this? But if you've got, and I don't know their exact grade on him, they obviously didn't have a high enough grade on him to take him over Dillon Gabriel, who they got in the 3rd, or over those other 6 picks. But it's fair to say they had a high enough grade that why would you not take another bite at the apple? And that's really what this comes down to, Rich. Certainly, on one hand, the Browns have now signed themselves up for an offseason of chaos. They have lived it with Deshaun Watson for the last several years. They lived it this year with Myles Garrett. They're used to it. I don't think that Kevin Stefanski is probably wild about the idea of yet another quarterback controversy overshadowing everything that's going on. But at the same time, on the flip side of it, when you are taking a quarterback in the mid rounds, you're doing it based on traits. None of these guys are surefire starters. If they were, they would have gotten drafted up high in the draft. With Dillon Gabriel, he's really, really accurate, but he's short. He's like my height, and there's real questions about, okay, a guy who was that productive at the college level, everybody's bigger, everybody's faster, how can he function? They clearly liked him. He's like the best comp that I would give you, Rich, is he's like a mini Tua Tagovailoa. Can he go and function at the NFL level? We're going to find out. With Shedeur, you have accuracy, you have toughness. You have a guy who has been a part of building up a couple of programs, but not the biggest arm, not the biggest guy. He is not an elite athlete like his dad was. And then you've obviously got all these other questions about the type of culture shock that he's in for when he's going to be dropped into an NFL building where for the first time since he was a kid, his dad's not his coach and the accountability structures are going to be different. But if this is just a matter of lottery tickets, which are what mid-round quarterbacks are, buy the second ticket when it's on cheap and see what you get. If your worst case scenario here, Rich, with drafting Shedeur, besides, again, having immense amounts of media attention and scrutiny over how you now proceed at the quarterback position, but your worst case scenario is Shedeur comes in, he doesn't play well, and you cut him, and you're out a 5th-round pick. The upside is a guy who we were talking about until draft days. This guy gave me the 3rd overall pick in the draft, and maybe you fall into your future starting quarterback. I think this all goes back, Rich, to what they did at number 2, which was up until those last couple of days when we started hearing Jacksonville was really pushing hard. That was a surprise. I was struck by how many people, when I was texting people within the league that night and asking them for the biggest surprise of round 1, which is something, an exercise I do every year. Hey, what was the biggest surprise? The number of people who said, I couldn't believe the Browns got that much for the number 2 pick. They got the quarterback premium without a second quarterback on the board. That to me said, you got an extra 1st-round pick in 2026. That is supposed to be a much better quarterback draft. You're going to have Arch Manning quite possibly in that draft, Drew Allar from Penn State quite possibly within that draft, Carson Beck, who we were talking about as a potential 1st-round pick back in that pool. You're going to have, and this can all change over the next year, as we well know, but you're going to have potentially more options. So now the Browns not only have the ammunition to go up and get their quarterback in 2026, they're now taking 2 shots this year, 3 if you count Kenny Pickett, to just go, let's put all these guys in the room, a former 1st-round pick, a guy who was projected to be a 1st-round pick, and a guy who started more games than anybody in college football history. let's see what happens in training camp. And it's going to be one of the driving storylines all through the spring and summer.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.